What's up everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today I have for you 5 Muay Thai moves which are must knows. If you do not have these in your arsenal yet, you are completely missing out. Follow along with this episode, try out the techniques, have fun, and by the end you're going to have improved your skill set. And before we get our 5 points underway, I'd like to thank XMartial for sponsoring this episode. They provide me with all sorts of awesome apparel. You guys can get your hands on this type of gear as well, this type of clothing, jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai, outdoor apparel, training at the gym when you're doing weights, they've got it all. I have a link in the description below. Use the promo code Gabriel Varga to save 10% and just jump over there right when this episode is done and give them a look and see if they have anything that piques your interest. I'm pretty darn sure they will. So all the techniques, the moves that we were talking about today are very specific, in my opinion, to Muay Thai. Some of them are individual techniques, some of them are combos, but they are things you're gonna see the fighters from Thailand throw time and time and time again. And of course, other martial arts will sprinkle these in occasionally, but they will not have them as techniques that are tried and true, which are just gonna be there all the time. The very first move is a spinning elbow, and more specifically, a defensive spinning elbow. Now, not to criticize, but very often when I watch Muay Thai fighters, I go, their hand defense is a little weaker. But sometimes they utilize that really well. They're kind of getting rocked or rattled. I'm like, oh, they're in trouble. And then they bust out a spinning elbow. Could be block, block, block. Oh, boom. And man, when that comes and it lands, it is absolutely devastating. Let's talk about a couple different angles that this can come from. First off, if I'm in the shell, I could come across completely horizontal. This is going to be a little bit of a longer range technique, and it's going to give you just that extra bit of distance. However, you can alternatively, if the person's a little tighter and you feel like when you spin, you're going to jam with your tricep, you can alternatively drop downwards, and that is something which works that much better, especially if the person is punching with their hands up. You don't have to worry about catching their guard. You're going to come over top. So you're being defensive and then bang, just bust out that spinning elbow. You could be moving backwards, or you could just be in that zone where you're here and you're just feeling a little frazzled. Maybe you take an overhand, you kind of get knocked down to the side. Why not follow with that spinning technique, which just works so beautifully. The next technique is actually something that was requested in a comment the other day. Somebody asked me, Gabriel, can you make a video about the Thai hop? And in all honesty, I didn't even know what that was. I had to look up a tutorial on what it was. As soon as I saw, I went, oh, I know what that was. I just didn't know the terminology. So this is the Thai hop. It is lifting the lead leg to a front kick position while sliding forward, basically pushing off this back leg. If you put the two of them together, you end up with a great fake. And yes, many fight sports, especially karate and taekwondo, they'll do the same thing, but from a side kick. The front kick I prefer though, because I think you're in a much better zone to follow with something more dangerous than what you can do with that side kick, slide and fake. In general, I would say the Thai hop works best off the lead leg as opposed to trying to slide off this side. When you do this, the name is kind of funny. Keep in mind that Thai hop is not probably correct because it's a Thai slide. You don't actually want to hop, because as soon as your foot disconnects, or both feet in this case, disconnect from the ground, if you happen to get hit right now, you're going to end up on your back. You're going to get completely flattened out, and that's not something we want. So Thai slide is more appropriate in my mind, but we have the Thai hop. It's already established, so we'll keep that. Pump the leg up, slide forward on the standing one. From there, depending on what they do, you follow up with some sort of additional technique. Could be offense, where you're trying to strike them, or it could be something like a sweep, where you knock them down. The next move, which I really like from Muay Thai, is finishing all kicks, for example, a round kick to the body with a lead leg front kick. Utilizing this defensive move after an offensive one is a great way to stay defensively sound and make sure that after you go offensive, you don't get caught. And very often people will try and block techniques or check techniques and run forward. So if it's almost muscle memory, I throw something and I finish with a defensive kick. I throw something, I finish with a defensive kick. I have sparred with guys who train like this, who do this, and it's always so frustrating because you think, okay, I blocked it. Now I'm gonna come forward and right away you're eating a front kick. So play around with this, especially if you have somebody who has a belly pad on. When they're holding pads for you, they call for the round kick, boom, and it's pump this leg up. If they're out of range, then you don't have to follow up on it. But if you can, one and then blast them, it's even better. One and blast them to the stomach, just so good. Our next technique, which you need to know, is the Thai side kick. I just did an episode the other day talking about Tao and Chai's kick when he defeated Superbond. You can actually check out that full fight up there. He takes his lead leg, he lifts it up like a front kick, he increases his pivot, he turns the hips slightly over, and it becomes a kick which is sort of hybrid between a front kick and a side kick, having best of both of them, in my opinion. Hands are up, pump this knee, and then boom. And you can also incorporate that Thai slide, that Thai hop, which we just talked about, into the Thai side kick to really get some good range on it. I love this one because I feel like you're defensively safer. You can get your head way out of the way when you're throwing. No risk of taking punches or kicks. When you land, it hurts that much more, and you can throw from this ridiculously far range. The last thing which Muay Thai fighters do so well, which you should be trying to incorporate into your arsenal, is to double up on kicks or triple up. Don't stick with that idea like, okay, I throw one kick and I'm done. You should be trying to, as we do on pads very often, throw multiple ones, except we don't want them generally to the same spot. We're better off throwing one and switching angles or switching heights, 1 to 2. Things like that are so much more difficult. Something Superbond was teaching Takaru recently was to double up off the lead leg, touch them in the body, but then when the foot hits the floor, come up to the head. And because of the angle switch, but also the height switch, there's high probability compared to just hitting the same area twice that this will land. So like Superbond, standing here, you touch them once, get them thinking about that, touch them again, make them think about it even more, touch them, and then come up to head level. Or something like a big body round kick and then down to the leg. These type of techniques are so very Muay Thai, and they are spectacular if you can actually start executing them. So there we have it, guys. 5 Muay Thai techniques that are just must-knows if you want to up your skill level and really understand this fight style. Thanks for joining me today, guys. As always, train hard. I will see you back here soon for another video.